Welcome to this predicted paper from On Maths. This paper represents the best guess for the upcoming exams. Please use this paper in addition to your other revision. You can complete a unique version of this paper by going to our On Maths site. On Maths is full of free content to help you prepare for your exams, such as topic-based papers, demon questions, and mini mocks. If you like what we do, please consider subscribing. Enjoy! In this question we've got euros and we've got pounds, and we're told that £1 is 2.23 euros. And we're trying to get to understand what 2,676 euros is in pounds. And we're going to do that by finding out what €1 is and then finding out how much 2,676 are. So, to get from 2.23 to 1, we divide by 2.23, and we're going to do that on both sides. And when we do that, we get 0.448 blah blah blah. And then to get from 1 to 2,676, we go times by 2,676 on both sides. And when we do that, we get £1,200. So 2,676 euros is £1,200. We've got to first of all work out how many parts there are altogether in our ratio. So we've got 51 saying yes, 7 saying no, and 13 undecided. So altogether, we've got 51 plus 7 plus 13, which is 71 parts. Now each part is equal. So to find out the value of one part, we're going to do how many students there are, which is 2,911, and divide it by the 71 to find out what one part is worth, how many students are in one part. One part's worth 41 students. So each one of those parts in the ratio is 41 students. Now yes, because it goes yes, no, undecided, yes will be the 51 there. So it's 51 lots of 41 students. 51 parts with each part representing 41 students. And when you multiply those together, you get 2,091. So our answer is that 2,091 students responded with yes. It's really important when answering this question that we're really methodical. So we're going to start off just looking at steak. And I'm going to start off with the S. And we're going to pair it with the first dessert, which is the I. Then we're going to pair the steak with the second dessert, which is the mousse. Then we're going to pair it with the third dessert, which is the fruit. So we're being really methodical. We've done all of the combinations with steak. And so we're going to look at burger next. And we're going to pair it with the first ice cream. Then burger, and we're going to pair it with the mousse, and then finally the burger we're going to pair with the fruit. As long as we do things methodically, we don't ever miss any. So we're just going to substitute the values that we're given into the formula. So v squared equals, and then u is 16.4 squared plus 2 times a, which is 0.2, times s, which is 110.2. Type that into the calculator and you get 313.039 blah blah blah. And what we're going to do is we're just going to quickly solve this by square rooting both sides, because it's v squared equals and we just want v equals. So v equals, and we're just going to square root that on the calculator, 17.692, blah, blah, blah. It says it wants it to two decimal places, that's just going to be 17.69. We're going to start off by finding what the multiplier will be. So we will start off with 100%, and it's a decrease of 32.6%, so we're going to take that away, and that will leave the percentage as 67.4%. Next we need to convert that into a decimal. So we're going to divide it by 100, and that will make it into a multiplier. And the beauty about a multiplier is all we need to do is get the amount from the question, 486, and times it by the multiplier, and it will do all the hard work for us, and it will give us the answer of 327.56. The first piece of information I'm going to focus on is the fact Denver gets 8/19. Denver gets 8/19, that means that Engel and Fido together must get 11/19 because they have to add up to 1. So we're only looking at 11/19. I'm going to focus on the ratio next of Engel to Fido. So it's 9/5. And let's have a look and see, well, first of all, how many parts there are all together. So 9 plus 5, which is 14 parts. So there are 14 parts in total, and the share that they get is 11/19. So what I'm going to do is to find out what fraction one of those parts is worth by dividing 11/19 by 14. So each part is worth, and I'm just going to keep this into my calculator, 0.041 blah blah blah. And we're asked to find Fido's share. Well, Fido has 5 parts. So Fido has 5 parts, each of them worth 0.041 blah blah blah. I've kept it in my calculator to keep the accuracy. And when I do that, I get 0.206 blah blah blah. Now we're asked to work it out as a percent, so I'm just going to times that by 100. So we have 20.676 blah 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 percent, and it wants it rounded to the nearest percent, so that would be 20%. Or actually, it would be 21% because this would round it up, so 21%. So we're looking to write a formula for the cost in pounds of hiring a microwave for X amount of days. So the cost is C, so it's going to be C equals, and it says it's going to be 55 pence a day. Now, it wants the answer in pounds, so we need to convert this 55 pence into pounds. So that's going to be 0.55, and it's going to be 0.55 times the amount of days. Well, it says the amount of days is X, so it's going to be 0.55x. Then it says that there's just a one-off cost of £15, so you're going to have to pay £15 regardless. So we're just going to add 15 onto that. So the answer would be C equals 0.55x plus 15. There's an awful lot going on in this question. Whenever there's an awful lot going on, it's always best to draw a diagram. So we're going to start off at Chelton, which is a C. Then we go to Bolko, that's where we're going. And we go through Devley on the way. So we'll do D there. Distance from Chelton to Devley is 34 miles. Distance from Devley to Bovlo is 16 miles. So I'm just reading through the question, adding it to my diagram. David leaves Chelton at 9 o'clock. He drives from Chelton to Devley an average speed of 68 miles per hour. And what speed does David travel between Devley and Bolko to arrive at 9:45? So the whole duration of this, the whole thing needs to be 45 minutes or 0.75 hours. And the entire distance is 34 plus 16, so that would be 50 miles. Okay, now having a look at this, we need to find out what time David was at Devley. So we're going to use our speed, distance, time triangle. So speed equals distance over time. And we're covering up the time, because that's the one we want. So it's going to be time equals distance, which is 34, over speed, which is 68. So we're going to do 34 divided by 68, which is 0.5. So it would be 0.5 hours. So that would be half an hour. So we will be at Devley at 9:30. So that means we've got 15 minutes left. Okay, so we've got 15 minutes to travel the 16 miles. So this time we're looking for the speed. Okay, so it will be speed equals the distance, which is 16 miles, over time, which is 15 minutes, but we need that in hours, so that would be 0.25 hours. And so what we can do here is times top 1 by 4 to get rid of the fraction. So it becomes 64 over 1, or just 64 miles per hour. So our answer is 64 miles per hour. So let's write these numbers out. And the first thing to do is work out what the numbers are going up by. So they're going up by -3, because they're minusing 3 each time. So we know that the number before the n is going to be -3. So whatever they go up in is the number before the n. Then what we do is we go backwards to find the 0th term. So actually going backwards, we would add 3 and we would find it to be 20. So whatever numbers our 0th term, because 17 is our first term, is going to be what we add to the -3n. So it's going to be add 20. So our answer is -3n plus 20. So we know that the equation of all linear graphs, which we have here, is going to follow the y equals mx plus c. And we need to find out what the m and the c are. So we're going to first of all work out what the gradient is. So that's going to be m. And the gradient is the change in y over change in x. And a different way we can write that is y2, so the y coordinate of the second coordinate, the y component in the second coordinate, take away y1, over x2, take away x1. And so y2 is going to be the y coordinate of the second component, which is there. That's going to be 40, take away y1, which is going to be 31. And then that's going to be over then the x component, so 24, take away 18, which is the x component for the first equation. So it's going to be 9 over 6, which is going to be 3 over 2, because it's just simple cancelling. So we know that m is 3 over 2, so we can actually just write out that that's going to be 3 over 2x, but we still don't know what the y-intercept is. So what we can do is have a look at the first coordinate, and for the first coordinate we've got an x and y coordinate, so we know what x and y are. So what I'm going to do is just write out the equation I've just written out, but instead of writing y, I'm going to write in 31. Instead of writing x, I'm going to substitute in the 18. So it's going to be 31 equals 3 over 2 times, and the x component was 18 for our first coordinate, and then we've got the plus c. And so all we need to do now is solve it. So there's going to be quite a few components here. We're going to do 3/2 of 18 first of all. So 3 over 2 times 18, well that's going to be 27. And then we're going to subtract 27 both sides. And when we do that, we get the fact that c equals 4. Now if we know what c equals 4, we can then substitute that into what we know. So it's 3 over 2x, and we know that c is 4, so it's going to be plus 4. Let's write that in our answer. So 3 over 2, it could be 3x over 2. You could put the x into the fraction, and then plus 4. So this question says that Adrian Ben and Charlie have some sweets, and the ratio of Adrian to Ben to Charlie is 9 to 6 to 13. But it also says that Charlie got 56 more sweets than Adrian. So there's 56 more sweets. Well, looking at the actual parts of the ratio, there are 4 more parts. So plus 4 parts, which represent plus 56 sweets. So the 4 extra parts are worth 56 sweets. So 4 parts are worth 56 sweets. So 1 part would be 56 divided by 4, which is 14 sweets. So all we need to do now is work out how many parts there are. Well, there are 9 plus 6 plus 13 parts, which is 28. And each part is worth 14 sweets. So the total number of sweets will be 28 times 14. So 28 times 14 is 392. The first thing we need to do is work out the area of the floor, and you'll notice that this is a trapezium. So with a trapezium, the formula is half a plus b times h, and a and b are the parallel sides, so these ones are the parallel sides, and the height is the one connecting the two bases, the two parallel sides. So we're going to start off by writing down the formula. So it'd be half a plus b h. So half times 2.8 plus 1.2 times 11. And when we do that, we get 22. So the area of the floor is 22 meters squared. And it says here that the tiles are sold in packs which cover 3 meters squared. So if each pack covers 3 meters squared, we're going to do 22 divided by 3, which will be 7.33 packs that we need. Now obviously you can't get 0.3 of a pack or 0.33 of a pack. So we're going to have to get 8 packs and just have some left over. So we'll need 8 packs in total. Okay, the next thing we look at is the fact that the Jenny has a 25% discount. So we need to find out what 25% discount would do to the £18.60 for the tiles, or for the pack of tiles. And so what we're going to do is we're going to get the £18.60 and we're going to times it by 0.75. So we're just going to find 3/4 of it because she has a 25% discount, and that would be 1,395. So that's the tiles are going to cost £13.95. Now I've done this in pence and I've kind of muddled it together here, so really let's just go back because I've kind of done this in pence. So that would be 1,860 times 0.75, and so each pack will cost 1,395, and the reason we're doing this in pence is the answer needs to be given in pence, so I might as well just make that conversion now. And so it's going to be 8 lots of the 1,395 pence packs, which will cost in total 11,160 pence, or £111.60. But Jenny has £100 to spend, and we're asked how much extra does she need. So we're going to do the 11,160, take away the 10,000 pence that she has, which will give us 1,160 pence. So she needs to find £11.60 or 1,160 pence from somewhere. To find the median, we need to have all the numbers in a list from smallest to biggest and find the middle num. Now, we can't do that when we're using a table like this, or it's not very practical to. So we need a kind of different strategy, and the way we do it is to use a simple formula to find the position of the median. Now the median will always be in the n plus 1 divided by 2 position. So we need to find out what n is, and we do that by adding up all the frequencies there. So let's add those together and you get the sum of f. So those add up to 15. So if you do 3 plus 4 plus 2 plus 1 plus 5, you get 15. And so we've got 15 plus 1 divided by 2. 15 plus 1 is 16, divided by 2 is 8. So the position of the median is in the 8th position. Now to easily find out which group, because it's asking for the class interval, which is just a fancy way of saying a group. So it could be this one, or it could be this one. To easily find out which group the median is in, what we do is a quick running total. So what I'm going to do is add up the frequencies as I go along. So we've got 3 there, 3 plus 4 is 7, plus 2 is 9, plus 1 is 10, plus 5 is 15. And then what I do is just convert those into 3rd, 7th, 9th, 10th, and 15th. So what those numbers are the last time that a number is in that group. So we've got 3 numbers that are in the group 10 to 25, and the 3rd one is the last number in that group. The 4th one, therefore, will be in the 25 to 40 group. So we're looking for the 8th one. Well, the 7th one is the last one in this group. So the 8th one will be in this group here, as well as the 9th. Then the 10th one will be in the next group. So when it asks for a class interval, all you need to do is copy down exactly what the group is. So it's 40 to 55. And don't ever write down 40 to 55 or anything like that. Always copy it exactly from the table. So the symbol here basically means and the way I remember it is if you draw that symbol and just put a line through it, you can make the word and. So we're looking at the probability of getting something that is in A and C. So the only ones that are in A and C are this 8 and this 9 here. So we're going to just add the 8 and the 9 together, which give us 17. Now we need to then work out how many numbers there are in total, so that's all of them. So 4 plus 8 plus 9 plus 5 plus 8 plus 3 plus 11 plus 6. So we need the total, which is 54. And then we get the 17, and we put that over the amount in total, so over 54. So the only way of answering this question is to work out what these are as ordinary numbers. And so 7 times 10 to the power of 7 would be 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And 9 times 10 to the power of 4 would be 90,000. So that would be 9, 0, 0, 0, 0. And so we're just subtracting them like that. And so we'll get 6, 9, 9, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0. And obviously if this is on the calculator paper, just type it into your calculator. There are no tricks here. You can't do anything with the 7 and the 9. You're not subtracting powers or anything. You're just literally typing in what it says. And there's a button on the calculator like that you will need to use. So if you don't know what that is, ask your teacher or ask someone to help you out with that. So to find the gradient, we need the formula or the equation in the form y equals mx plus c. And the m there will give us what the gradient is. So we're just going to be rearranging this equation. And so I'll get my lines in. So the first thing I'm going to do is get rid of the x's from the left hand side, and we can do that by adding 6x both sides. So we've got 6y equals, and I'm going to put the 6x first, just to match the y equals mx plus c. Right, the next thing I'm going to do is get rid of this 6, because we just want a y there. So we're going to divide by 6 both sides. So we've got y equals 1x plus 36. Now we shouldn't really write 1, but because we're looking for m, we're looking for the number before x, I've kind of left it in there to show that the gradient will be 1. So asked to find the bearing of Freetown from Gamley, so that is this angle here. And so what we're going to do is we're going to find this angle, and this will obviously be 90 degrees because the hiker walked west, and it's against the west line and the north line, so it's definitely 90 degrees. So we can work out what the bearing is if we know that angle inside the triangle. So we're going to start by labelling the sides. Well, we've got 90 degrees here, we've got hypotenuse here, we've got the adjacent here next to the angle, and we've got the opposite, which is across from the marked angle. Here we're not using the hypotenuse, we can cross that out, and we can do our SOHCAHTOA. And the only one that doesn't have the hypotenuse is TOA, and so we're doing tan x equals the opposite, which is 49 over 98. Get our lines in, and we're going to do the inverse tan to both sides. So we get x equals, and we do inverse tan, which is 26.565, blah blah blah. Okay, so we know that the whole of the way around up until this point is 270 because we've got this 90 degree left. So what I'm going to do now is we're just going to work out the bearing. So bearing, we're just going to do 270, take away the 26.565, blah blah blah, and that gives us 243.434, blah blah blah. It says it wants it to the nearest whole number, so that's going to be 243. To be able to work out this question, we need to work out the amount of student hours required to paint the wall. And to work that out, we've got 6 students and it takes them 11 hours. So 6 times 11 means it's going to take 66 student hours. So if we had 1 student, it would take 66 hours. 2 students would be half of that because they share the work, and etc, etc. So here we've got 6 students and it take 11 hours, and it says how long will it take 7 students. Well, if there's 66 hours or student hours but they're sharing the time, we just divide 66 by 7. So 66 divided by 7 is 9.428, blah blah blah. And it says it wants its 2 decimal places, so it will take them 9.43 hours. Now check this makes sense. We've got 6 students and it takes them 11 hours. So we'd think if we had more students helping to paint the wall, it would take less hours. So we've gone from 11 hours to about 9.5. So that sounds right. We're first of all going to find the multiplier for this question. So we start off with 100%. It's a compound interest of 7.2%, so we can add 7.2% on, and that will give us 107.2%. Convert that to a decimal or a multiplier by dividing it by 100. That would be 1.072. So that's our multiplier there. Okay, so we know that every time we times something by 1.072, it's going to increase by 7.2%. So we're going to just make up a number. So let's say £100. It doesn't actually matter which number you pick. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in £100 into my calculator, and then I'm going to type the equals button. I'm just going to press the equals button, okay, which sounds a bit weird, but I'm going to type in 100 into the calculator, press equals. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to times the answer, so I'm going to press the ANS button, times 1.072. Okay, so I'm going to talk you through that again. So we're going to put the 100 into our calculator, then press the equals button, and then type in answer times 1.072. Now, every time we then press the equals button, we're going to increase the number by 7.2%. So we press it once and we get 107.2. Press it again, 114.9. Again, 123.1, etc., etc. And you keep going. Now, we're looking to see when the money is doubled. So we're counting how many times we've got to press the equals button until it doubles the money. So after 9 years, after 9 presses of the equals button, we get 186.9, and then press it again and we get 200.4. So it's going to be 10 years to double the money. There are two shapes we need to find the volume of. There's this cylinder here and this hemisphere here. So we might as well start with this cylinder. And the formula for the volume is pi times r squared times height. So it's the radius is 9, so 9 squared times the height, which is 30. And when we work that out, we get 7,634.070, blah, blah, blah. Next is the hemisphere. To find the volume of the hemisphere, well, the volume of a sphere is 4/3 times pi times r cubed. But because it's a hemisphere, we just times that by a half. So it's half times 4/3 times pi times r, which is the radius, which is 9 cubed. And that gives us 1,526.814, blah, blah, blah. And so the total volume is 7,634.070, blah, 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 plus the 1,526.814, blah, 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 which equals 9,160.884, blah, blah, blah. It says it wants it to 2 decimal places, so when we round that, we get 9,160.88. First thing I'm going to do is add these column vectors. So we're going to add the tops first, and then we're going to add the bottoms. So it's plus minus 14. And so at the top it would be minus 4, and 11 take away 14 is minus 3. Then I go pick a point on my shape, and the the top one tells us how far right we're going. So we know we're going 4 to the left because it's obviously a negative. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. The bottom one tells us how far up we're going. Well, it's going to be down because it's a minus 3. So 1, 2, 3. And we can do that for each of the other points. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. And when we've done that, we can join them all up with straight lines. And label the new shape B. So when we find the mean of something, we add the elements together and we divide them by the amount of elements. So here we've got 3 elements. So what we're going to do is add these together and then divide by 3. Now the problem is that the denominators are not the same, so we can't add them yet. But they're all factors of 45. So we're going to times top and bottom of the first one by 9. So we end up with 9k over 45. Times the top and bottom by 3, and so it would be 3 brackets k plus 1 over 45, and the last one is over 45, so we don't need to do anything for that. Then we can just add the numerators together, and I'm just going to expand the bracket here, so it's 3k plus 3 plus k plus 4, and then all of that over 45. And we're going to do 9k plus 3k plus k, which is going to be 13k. and then 3 plus 4, which is just 7 over 45. So the sum of them is 13k plus 7 over 45. So to work out the mean, we need to divide it by 3. But instead of writing divide by 3, we know KFC, keep, flip, change. If you have a division, you keep the first fraction, you change the divide into a times, and you flip the second fraction. So a different and easier way of writing that is times 1/3. So here we just keep the numerator the same because we're timesing it by 1. And then the bottom we just times by the 3, which would be 135. So our answer is 13k plus 7 over 135. So we've got Billy and James and Sam. And James collects 20% more sand than Billy. So we've got James and he's plus 20%. And Sam collects 60% more sand than James, 60%. And you'd think you'd just add the two. Obviously, it's not going to be that easy for 3 marks. So the answer is not 80. What we've got to do is find the multipliers for each of these. And so what we're going to do is we're going to start off with 100%, add the 20%, and that would be 120%. Then we're going to get the 120, divide it by 100, and that gives us the multiplier, which would be 1.2. So the multiplier from Billy to James is 1.2. So however much Billy has, if we times it by 1.2, we get James's amount. Do the same for James to Sam. So start off with 100%, add 60, is 160%. Then just make that a decimal, so 160 divided by 100, 1.6. So if we multiply anything by 1.6, it will increase it by 60%. Now it says, by what percentage is the amount of sand collected by Sam greater than the amount of Billy? So what we're going to do is we're going to start off with Billy being 100%, okay? We're going to times it by the 1.2, and then times it by the 1.6, and find out what the final percentage is. So when we do that, we get 192. So we started off with Billy's 100, we just made that up, but it just makes the maths nicer to use. And we ended up with Sam having 192. Well, what is 192 as a percentage increase of 100? Well, the reason we picked 100 is we can clearly see that it's gone up by 92%. So our answer is 92%. To find the length of the rectangle, what we're going to do is we're going to get the area and we're going to divide it by the width. Now, the question says that it wants the minimum length, so we want the length to be as small as possible. Obviously, to do that, we want the area to be as small as possible. If the area is smaller, the length will be smaller. But let's have a look at a couple of fractions. So let's have a look at a half and 1 over 100. Which one of those fractions is the smallest? Well, it's 1 over 100, but what do you notice about the denominator? That as the denominator gets bigger, the fraction gets smaller. So to make something smaller, we actually want the denominator to be as big as possible. So we want the width to be as large as possible. So we're going to find the lower bound of the area. And an easy way to find a lower bound is find the accuracy. Well, it says the accuracy is to the nearest 10. And what we're going to do is halve that. So half of 10 is 5. And then we're going to take it away from the area. So it's 98,540, take away 5, which will be 98,535. Now for the width, we're going to do the same thing, halve the accuracy, half of 10 is 5, but we're looking for the upper bound, we're looking for the biggest it can be. So we're going to add that on, 1, 2, 3, 5. And when you do that calculation, you get the answer of 79.78542, blah, blah. and it says it wants it to 4 decimal places. So we're going to do 79.7854. The first thing to notice is we actually have 2 radii here. So we've got this radius here and this radius here, and all radii are always equal in length. So we have an isosceles triangle here. So this angle here is going to be 19x as well, and we've got to write that down. So we're going to say angle OBA is equal to 19x, and the reason is it's an isosceles triangle. Okay, so we know these two are equal. Well, we also can work out x because, as I said before, we have a triangle here, and all angles in a triangle add up to 180. So we've got 7x plus 19x plus 19x equals 180 degrees, and this is angles in a triangle. Try and draw a better triangle, equal 180 degrees. Try and write out these reasons in full. Okay, so that's going to be, was it 45x equals 180, and let's get our solving lines in, and we're just going to divide both sides by 45. Okay, so we've got x equals 180 divided by 45, which is 4. Now, we're looking for this angle here. That's angle ABC. Now, there's a few different ways we could do this. We could work out what this angle is, because it's a big triangle, etc., etc. Or we can use the fact that we've got a tangent touching a radius. So we know that this, let's just pick a different colour, this angle here is 90 degrees. So we can write that down. So angle OBC equals 90 degrees, because it's the angle between a tangent and a radius. Again, make sure you write all the reasons in full. And so therefore, angle ABC, which is what we're asked for, it's just 90, take away the 19x. Well, we know that 19x is 19 times 4, because we know that x is 4. And so that would be 76, so in total it would be 14 degrees. So angle ABC is 14 degrees. Okay, so we're asked to find length AB, which is this length here. But I'm going to start just by renaming these letters. And I'm going to put this as a capital C, and this as a capital A, and a lowercase a over here. And the reason it being is that we're going to use this formula, which is area equals half AB sine C. And you can see that the angle C is a C in this formula, and so I've just changed it to a C here. And so we're looking for little a. We're not interested in little c or big B or big A. We're focused on, and we've got a little b here, we're focused on little b, little a, and big C. The area given to us in the question is 21.6. And we're looking for A, but B is 5, and C is 68. And so all we need to do here is rearrange all of this. And we're going to start just by working out what half times 5 times sine 68 is. And that's going to be 2.317 blah blah blah. That's times A. And then we're going to do a bit of solving, because if we divide both sides by that 2.317 blah blah blah, that'll give us what A is. So when we do that, we get 9.318 blah 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 equals A. So rounded to 2 decimal places, that's going to be 2.32. We're going to write this out again just to give us a bit more space. So we've got S equals 4 minus 13t over t minus 5. We're going to get our lines in. Okay, so the first thing I need to do is get rid of this fraction. Always get rid of any fractions. I'm going to do that by multiplying both sides by t minus 5. So we're going to end up with s brackets t minus 5 equals 4 minus 13t. I'm going to break open those brackets just by multiplying them out. So it's st minus 5s equals 4 minus 13t. And the objective here is to get all the t's on the same side. So I'm going to add the 5s and I'm going to add the 13t. So add 5s and then add 13t. And so effectively we're just moving this on the other side and this on the other side. So we're left with st plus 13t equals 4 plus 5s. Now when we've got the t's on the same side, we can factorise out the t's. So t bracket s plus 13 equals 4 plus 5s. And then we can get rid of this by dividing both sides by s plus 13. And so we're left with t equals 4 plus 5s over s plus 13. So our answer is 4 plus 5s, all of that over s plus 13. And it can be either way around, so I could have 5s plus 4 over 13 plus s, or anything like that. Whenever you're asked to work out a proportion of items in a histogram, you can actually do it by just counting the squares. So in the first bar, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So there are 12 squares here. The next one, you've got kind of 4 half squares, so that'll be 2 squares in total. And then we've got 4 squares in the last one. So altogether we have, for the amount of squares, we have 12 plus 2 plus 4, which will be 18. So it's 18 squares in total. Now it says that we're looking for between 25, which will be here, and 45, which will be here. So we count the squares in this little interval. So there are 3 here and there's half a 1 here. So the squares between 25 and 45, I should say dash 45, 25 to 45 is 3.5. Okay, so we've got 3.5 in total, or 3.5, out of a possible 18. So we just need to do 3.5 divided by 18 to work out the proportion, and that gives us 0.194 blah blah blah. It says it wants its 2 decimal places, that would be 0.19. We're going to first of all work out what the function f g of x is. And to do that, what we're going to do is just feed in the value of gx, the function, the kx plus 2. We're going to feed that in as the value of x in the f of x function. So instead of 4x, it'll be 4 lots of kx plus 2, and then plus 3. Now this says that fg, when 4 is put into it, it gets an answer of 187. So when 4 is put into it, well, let's put that 4 into it. So 4 brackets, and it's k times 4, so that's 4k, plus 2, plus 3. And it says that that will equal 187. So we've actually got something we can solve here. So I'm just going to rewrite that, but actually I might expand the brackets as well while I'm at it. So 4 times 4k is 16k, 4 times 2 is 8, plus 3 equals 187, and let's get our solving lines in. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is, well, we can add the 8 and the 3 actually while we're here. So 16k plus 11 equals 187. So we're going to take away that 11 from both sides. So we've got 16k equals 176. And then we can divide by 16 both sides. So we've got k equals 11. So answer is 11. With this question, we're going to first of all have to find a length before we can find the length AF. And it does involve us thinking in 3D. What I find sometimes useful though is to draw kind of a 2D representation of the 3D. So I'm going to look at this triangle here, and I'm going to notice that I need to find length BF. That's going to be my objective at the start of this. So I'm just going to draw out this triangle again, but in 2D just to make it a bit easier. And BF is this length here, this is 6, and then this is 9. So we're going to use Pythagoras, so it will be sort of a squared plus b squared equals c squared, so it would be 6 squared plus 9 squared equals bf squared. 6 squared plus 9 squared is 117, and then we just get our solving bit in, just to square root both sides. And I can leave this as square root 117 for now. Okay, the actual length that we want is AF, which is this one here. And I'm going to create the right angled triangle using this bit here. So let's just draw that out. Now the top bit is AB, which is the same as the bottom. It's going to be 14. It's going to be the same as EF. Then the BF we've just found is root 117, and we're looking for AF. And this is the right angle. I didn't show the right angle on the other one, but it should be there. Okay, so we're going to use our a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And a squared is 14 squared plus square root of 117 squared equals AF squared. So 14 squared is going to be 196. Now root 117 squared is just going to get rid of the square root, so it's just going to be 117. And when you add them together you get 313. And again get our solving lines in. Square root both sides. And this time we're actually going to square root 313 because we need a decimal answer. So it would be 17.691 blah blah blah. It's equal to AF. And it says to 2 decimal places, so that's going to be 17.69 centimetres. You can complete a unique version of this paper by going to our OnMaths site. OnMaths is full of free content to help you prepare for your exams, such as topic-based papers, demon questions and mini mocks. If you like what we do, please consider subscribing.